Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our September 8th City Council meeting. Um, We have a full council present, and if you'd please stand and we'll do the pledge. It'll be Councilman Arnold Lopez, and the invocation will be by Councilwoman Brantner.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. As we gather to carry out the work of our city, let us pause to acknowledge the responsibility we share. May we be reminded that leadership is not only a role, but a service, one that calls us to listen with empathy, speak with honesty, and act with fairness. Let our efforts tonight be thoughtful and productive, grounded in mutual respect and a sincere desire to improve the lives of those we serve. May we be present, purposeful, and united in our mission to build a stronger, more vibrant community for all. With that spirit, let us begin this evening's meeting. Amen.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 5. Any citizen comments on agenda items? None. Then we'll move on to item 6, citizen comments on non-agenda items. Vance?
Hello, Mayor and Council. Vance Price with the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. There is a ribbon cutting that's not on anyone's schedule or calendar. It came up this morning that there's a new playground at Dorothy Stinson, and they are going to cut a ribbon at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So if you would like to participate at 9 a.m. on Wednesday at Dorothy Stinson for the new playground, the United Way of Graham and Greeley Counties provided a grant for that project, and they want to have a quick celebration there. And we'd love to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 7. All Bulldog Reunion Proclamation. We need a motion.
Mayor, I move we read the All Bulldog Reunion Proclamation into the record.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to read the All Bulldog Reunion Proclamation. All in favor? Opposed? Proclamation of All Bulldog Reunion, a proclamation of the mayor and the city council of the city of Safford recognizing Safford High School's All Bulldog Reunion September 26th and 27th. Whereas the city of Safford values community traditions that bring together alumni, families, friends, and neighbors to celebrate our shared history and school spirit. And whereas the Safford High School All Bulldog Reunion, hosted by the Safford High School Scholarship Foundation, provides an opportunity for graduates from all across the country to reconnect, reminisce, and renew their ties to their hometown. And whereas this event would not be possible without the tireless dedication of volunteers who worked to organize the activities, locate alumni, and ensure all participants enjoy a memorable and meaningful experience. And whereas the Bulldog Reunion strengthens our community pride, fosters lasting friendship, and honors the legacy of Safford High School Bulldogs. Now, therefore, I, Richard Tega, Mayor of the City of Safford, Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 26th and 27th, 2025 as Safford High School All Bulldog Reunion Days in the City of Safford. And I encourage all citizens to join in celebrating this special tradition that brings together generations of Bulldogs and strengthens the bonds of our community. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Safford to the affixed this 8th day of September 2025. Thank you. Anybody want to speak? Brenda? Please.
Mayor and council, on behalf of the Safford High School Scholarship and Educational Foundation, we want to thank you for your support. We want to let you know we've already been working with the police department. They've helped us develop where a safe parade will be. We've also worked with Mick and got all the paperwork there, so they're aware of what we're doing. We appreciate working with the Chamber and Salsa Fest, so it will be a very eventful weekend between our All Ball Dog reunion and the Salsa Fest. We'd like to invite all of you to come participate, and we're putting this on free of charge to anybody that will come and show their Bulldog pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. And let's just make this a very memorable and enjoyable and a very safe celebration for everybody. And we'll move on to item 8. Graham County Stars, presentation on their attendance at the League of Arizona Cities and Towns Conference.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Megan Poindexter, and I am the Tobacco Program Coordinator at the Graham County Health Department. And I am the leader of the GC Stars, which is Students Taking a Road to Success. And I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the GC Stars for allowing us to go and attend this year as well. And I have Reese and Valeria, who are here to present their experience and what they learned this go around of the league.
Hi, so I'm Reese Mendozola, and I would just like to start off by saying thank you so much for this opportunity. I know that me and Megan and Rosa, along with Valeria, had a fantastic time, and we got there safe this time. So, thank you. So we started off this event with the parade of flags, and they just had us go with Arnold Lopez and Dusty. And we went, and me and Valeria carried the city of Safford's flag down in front of everybody while they presented us.
Okay, so the next thing that we did was we had a guest speaker come. Her name was Haiti Antezena, and she talked about how we can create our own brand image. And basically, she talked about how our brand image is ourselves. Like, we are our own brand. And she talked about how we could put ourselves out there and just get everyone to like know who we are and how and to like show how we are to like everyone.
So our next event was speed networking. So last year we did have a lot of trouble with getting to talk with other youth about what we do for our community and stuff. But this year it was 10 times better and more intriguing because we got to sit down and talk with other youth and build amazing friendships. I know that I still talk to a couple of people that I met from other youth, and Valeria as well.
So the next thing, another activity we had was the poster board scavenger hunt. And this allowed us to go around to different cities and we asked them questions that were on the scavenger hunt. Like, we had to see things like about Superior and like what kind of mines they had. And then we just got to learn a whole bunch of different things about cities that we didn't know before. And along with that, it also allowed us to network a whole lot more.
And then taking a closer look at our poster board, we're going to look at some of the events that me, Megan, and Valeria with some other youth have done. So we had our St. Patrick's Day paint and punch where we painted a little leprechaun, and then we had some We had some little orange lemonade, and along with regular lemonade for anybody with allergies. And then we also had a make your own slime to promote the GC Stars. And along with that, we had our baby shower event where me and Megan had like made some little blankets. We did little tie blankets for expecting mothers where we raffled them off. And I know at our event, they were very interested in our little blankets that we did. Along with this, we did community pickup from like 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., where we cleaned the whole street. I don't know exactly which street. And then finally, we did a little Main Street pickup where we picked up about 6 pounds of cigarette butts down Main Street. And it was 1 point. It was only 1.5 miles.
So finally, we would just like to thank everyone, and we would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to go to this conference to represent the city of Safford and meet other people from other cities as well. So thank you.
I would like to thank you, young ones, for the good job you did in representing the city of Safford. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for us at all?
I do.
Yeah.
My daughter is a freshman, and she has a whole gaggle of girls that come to my house, and I've been asking them about this, and none of them know about it. Is it something where you guys go to the school and do a presentation to get their interest in joining this?
So that is actually something that I have been working on to get that interest. So last year we did the paint and punch and the slime event, but we had some barriers with youth trying to go to the health department because the health department it's not very known for a lot of youth. And so this year I am working with Mr. Jacobson and seeing how we can do meetings at the school during lunch or after school. So that is something that we are bringing more awareness to the Safford High School to see how we can get youth that way and promote it with the actual high schoolers there. Because there is a barrier of trying to promote something at a different location than where the youth are at. And that's something that I have been learning over the year of me taking charge of this position. So
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good job, girls.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll close the regular meeting and reconvene into a work session. Item number 10. Number 1, work session to discuss the implementation of HB 2447, HB 2928, and related municipal code updates. Thank you, Jamie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a request for the Mayor and Council to hold a work session to review House Bill 2447, House Bill 2928, and related municipal code updates. Staff will discuss items that must be complied with as well as those that the City Council can provide direction for. Strategic goals are growth and development. Background: the legislature has worked over the past several years to remove what it views as barriers to housing development in the state. House Bill 2447 and HB 2928 were signed by the governor after the 2025 legislative session and require that certain approvals be completed administratively without public hearings, as well as amending the accessory dwelling unit regulations applying to all municipalities. Analysis: city staff and our attorney reviewed both of these bills. During that review, other small updates were included to maintain our municipal code's compliance with state statutes and changes in technology. You'll notice on your staff report that there are bullet points for you to read, and they are coordinated with the large amount of information that you got in your packet. These are the highlighted changes. So first requires that site plans, development plans, land divisions, lot line adjustments, lot ties, preliminary plats, final plats, and plat amendments are done administratively now. This will not affect zone changes at this time. We'll keep an eye on what the legislature does in the upcoming session. The next one is just a point of clarification license, and this section can mean a building permit. At-risk submittals, staff reviewed these requirements, and that means that they can start doing the drainage and grading work before the project has been approved with an at-risk submittal. The next two items are separate because these are the two that I would like council direction on. The first one is expedited permit review. Staff suggests an expedited permit review fee of half of the cost of the building permit. Currently, we only charge a $25 site plan review fee, but no building plan review fee. If this permit review fee is implemented, posting requirements must be met for the new fee. We've also reached out to all the other departments in the valley, and nobody really charges plan review fee at this point. So since we are required to implement the expedited permit review, we thought that half of what the building permit fee would be is a fair fee to essentially jump the line to get expedited permit review. Up until this point, it's always been first come, first serve. The self-certification program, this bill allows a self-certification program, but at this time, staff does not see this as a benefit to the city of Safford and does not see the need to implement it. We have quite an experienced, especially engineering staff, and we would like to still review those plans in-house instead of having them self-certified. That's all in H Bill 2447. House Bill 2928 now applies to all municipalities in the state. You'll remember that last year we allowed accessory dwelling units. At that time, the state statute only applied to municipalities over 75,000 people. This year, they've made that apply to all municipalities in the state. So the bulleted points that you'll see there make our code that we had already implemented in line with the state statute. The two at the very bottom, no additional parking can be required for an accessory dwelling unit, and side or rear setbacks can't be required to be more than 5 feet, are the two that are the big change for us. Recommendation, based on the review of current legislation and our municipal code, staff seeks direction on self-certification and expedited permit review. You have quite a body of documents in your packet, and all of the changes that we will be making in the code are redlined with track changes. If you have any questions about those, we can go over those now. With that, I'll stand for questions and feedback.
I have one question for you, Jamie.
Mhm.
I had a citizen ask me if us doing the 1 acre or more, is that something we decided or is that state mandated?
Yes, Mayor and Councilwoman Brantner, that's state mandated.
State-
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. And that is one of the reasons that I included both bills. I know it's a lot of documentation for you to read for a meeting, but just so you could go through and see what's required, and then the two things that we have a little leeway with.
And, and so people aren't gonna have as much say within their neighborhoods as they used to?
Yes, Mayor and Vice Mayor, they are still welcome to contact us. So with zone changes, the process is not changing. And so they'll still have the neighborhood meetings, they'll still have the completely open public process. Citizens may still come to council meetings, they may still come to my office, they may still express their opinions in all of our public input manner. There just won't be a formal hearing. So our council and staff is still open to comment, but there will not be the pro forma public hearing. But we can still hear all of their public input in our
variety of ways that people may contact us and speak about issues.
But will they be notified on what's going on? Will there still be, things in the neighborhood that say something's gonna go on here if you, are interested in speaking up, or does that go away?
The notification process goes away because those are tied to the public hearings. I think as a benefit of all of this that we didn't have much say in, be involved in your community. If you see something going on, call my office and say, hey, what's going in here? Be more proactively involved and call the Planning and Zoning Commission. The chairperson is on our Development Review Committee. These will not be speedier processes. The staff review will still be the same. Every file and document in my office is still a public record. If people wanted to come in and see subdivision plans, they can still come in and see them. They can still have comment. It just won't be a formal public hearing. And so I would suggest to any resident, Mr. Bejarano has done an excellent job of keeping our Facebook posts up to date, our social media. Call our office and say, hey, any new projects going on? There's no secrecy implied by this. My phone number is still all over the website. Give us a call and ask, and you may still review the files.
Not many people participate now, and now it seems like there's gonna be even less. They gotta seek out themselves what's going on instead of anybody telling them.
Yes, sir. Except for the zone changes, those will still be the same process. Although the legislature is kind of leaning towards removing those public hearings as well.
And you say a lot of this doesn't really benefit us.
In the city of Safford, I would say that we are blessed to have excellent staff, especially engineering staff, building staff, planning commissioners that are very dedicated. It doesn't directly benefit us, but we can still know that the process is open, transparent, and done well. These rules were to prevent the NIMBY issues that people have with development of, I don't like that, therefore I'm going to speak out against it, even if there's not a safety issue or a legitimate planning concern, health and safety. And so these laws were to prevent that. I don't think it's going to hurt us. And if it creates a better atmosphere for our citizens to be like, hey, I'm going to call the planning department, maybe it does benefit us. Maybe they accidentally did a good job for us.
Will you be letting us know what's going on so that we can answer the questions too? That we have enough questions as it is now, and now they're gonna wonder what the heck.
Yes, and what I can do, pardon me, is just add on our monthly report any new projects that come in. And then we can even do a little public notice of, not a notice, I take that word back. We can do a Facebook post about, hey, here are some developments. If you have any questions, give the planning department a call.
And you did give us a lot to read and consider. The red lines are yours?
Yes, sir. We worked with the attorney and our development team. Some of the, especially in the subdivision ordinance, some of them are just to update our code as well. And then the attorney has reviewed every change that we have made to make sure that they are compliant with the new statute.
By when do we have to respond and make it permanent on what we decide?
So this evening, I would like a direction on the expedited permit review and the self-certification permit process. And then other than that, we'll have a first read in October, the first meeting in October. And no, we'll have a first read at the end of this month, second read, first meeting in October. And these need to be in effect by January 1st. So if you'd like another meeting in between to digest this information, that's fine as well, because it is a lot of information. We just have to have it in place by January 1st, 2026.
Yeah, that's, for me, that's a little quick. You got a lot of reading we gotta do and a lot of questioning on my behalf. I don't know about the rest.
So, Mr. Casella, if you would weigh in on this, if we just had the answers to the expedited permit review and the self-certification program by the next council meeting, and then we could just bump everything a meeting?
Those are the only things that you actually can act on and have
Right.
an impact on. So the rest of it is going to happen whether we embrace it or not. And then the other thing is that I'd like to bring the delegation, our state delegation, down before January, before the next session. It's probably something we want to talk to them about, because it's a pretty intrusive thing to come in and remove the public input process on something like this. So I think right now, there's not a lot we can do because it's passed, but I think we can talk to our delegation as we did on things like sales tax and say, this is not beneficial in our community. We would like to hear from our citizens. So, but unfortunately, the law itself will go into effect January 1st.
Correct.
And then those two items that Ms. Embeck highlighted are the only ones you really have a choice on. So
I'm
Mayor,
in
this-
favor of staff's recommendation on those two items, and I think we could probably, I don't know, we could decide that tonight. I do have a question, and it may be a legal question that we can't get an answer to, but I understand that in 29, 28, there's something in there that says, well, they moved the setbacks to 5 feet, but they also said that you can retain your fire codes and enforce those. And is not your 7-foot setback part of your fire code?
Yes, Mayor Ortega, Councilman McGoy, we looked that up, and 5 feet is the fire code. And I think
It
that's
is
where they
also-
got that number.
That may be why the county hasn't adopted a newer code, because ours is still larger than that. We make sure
Right,
that-
and so between structures, it gives you 10 feet. Yes, because that was our question when staff was reviewing it, and Mr. Holguin looked that up, and that's where they got that 5-foot number.
But I am in favor of the two questions you had tonight. I'm in favor of staff's recommendation.
Okay.
I am as well on those two. And again, I realize that most of the rest of it is not something that we can impact really anyway.
Correct. So with that, would you like me to maintain the schedule that we have, that we'll bring it back for a first read, next meeting, and a second read, the second meeting, and that'll give us time to post those fees. The clerk will have to post those fee notices.
That's good.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill Sims.
Yes.
Your staff, particularly Jamie, have done a good job in your community, weathering the storm that has occurred in other jurisdictions concerning accessory units and concerning short-term rentals. You have a system that works. Bluntly, this is a function of the property of the Goldwater Institute and others wanting to preserve property rights, arguing that they want to make housing available. So they have removed some of the local hearings that you, the mayor, asked about. Jamie's answer is the correct one, is I think you flood the zone with your Facebook and you make sure your public is aware of the decisions that are now being made at the staff level. And I think you maybe ask for periodic reports from Jamie as to what actions are taking so that you and your public can have input. But right now, they've really, other than zoning, they've taken out the significant hearings, and they're doing it under the argument that they want to promote growth and promote development. You haven't had many problems, frankly, because you have a great staff, and you don't have the problems that I've seen in other jurisdictions on particularly short-term rentals. Bottom line is, I think this works. I don't think you should do the self-certification program. That's one of the things you don't have to do, and I wouldn't do it. And you have to make your own decision on the fee. But then I like the idea of asking your staff to give you information on a periodic basis concerning developments that are and projects that are being approved at the staff level.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else? Did you get enough direction?
Yes, Mayor, as long as the majority of the council is fine with that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think one important thing though on all of this is the best we can, keeping the public informed of what is happening the best that we can.
And I think there's some opportunity here because even with the laws before they're going to change, I've had a myriad of questions on what's being built in different locations. And I think maybe just one of the silver linings in this is maybe we should have some type of monthly update on development in the city because I know you all get questions from citizens and you're unsure of what's going in a particular spot. And I think with our focus on economic development in the communities, it may be a good time for us to put something into that monthly report that says, hey, at least for the ones that we can, here's what's going there. Here's because you still can get public input, right? You just don't have
Yes.
a public hearing.
Correct.
So they can still show up. We just got to make sure that they get the information. So the notification part will go away and maybe we can fill some of that gap ourselves.
Is that monthly report something that we're supposed to be getting? 'Cause I
Should
don't-
be getting, yes. Should be online.
It's online.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And item number 2, work session to review the City of Safford's travel policy.
And just a reminder, we're in a work session, so you don't have to go through the chair.
I'll remember that.
Before Troy begins, if I could just ask all council to make sure you're speaking directly into the mic. It doesn't pick up the audio too well on YouTube or on the recording. Thank you.
All right, Mayor and Council, this is a request from Mayor and Council to convene a work session to discuss the City of Safford travel policy. This came up at a August P-card talk, that the travel policy and what it said in it, and I wanted to bring it to you. We're going to be bringing a lot of policies coming out of finance over the next few meetings. This is the first because it was asked for first of all. So this one, of all the policies, as we dug into the history of it, has a little bit more problems. So we'll probably have to act on all of these, any of these policies we bring to you in the next few months. You don't have to do anything. You can keep the current policy as it is. This one, you might have to act. The reason being is the current policy was passed in 2003 by Mayor and Council, and it was a simple 2-page document. It's actually enclosed inside your packet here. It has like 5 items in it. It's pretty basic. But in 2012, that was the travel policy. In 2012, they passed a travel procedure. Well, they presented a travel procedure to council, and they under the auspice of an accountability plan. And that travel procedure talks about how it supports the original travel policy from 2003. It doesn't rescind it. It supports it, but there's many points that conflict with one another. So I don't know how you support it if it conflicts. So in essence, we need to clear it up, get rid of the travel procedure, keep the travel procedure, get rid of the policy. That's the kind of stuff that we get to talk about tonight. So with that in mind, I've prepared some slides. Travel policies at every job I've ever had as a finance director. I've been assigned to change the travel policy or do something with the travel policy with council. And every time I swore I'd never do it again. So I am here tonight to do it for one more time. But this is the travel policy. I just want to get the facts out about travel. So we have a $117 million budget, right, that we just passed in July. Of that, our budget for 2026 is for travel is $216,000. That's less than 1% of our overall budget that we actually spend on travel. And you can see by fund, when you see the big one, police is one of your biggest travelers. They're in the general fund, but here's all the other funds. Enterprise funds are some big travelers. It's where travel and training are really required by our staff. There's not a lot that you can learn at the City of Safford. You need to go out and find this information from other localities, other trainings that go on around the state or throughout the nation. So with that in mind, it's less than 1% of the budget, but that's the travel that we currently spend. And as you can see in 2025, we only spent $165,000. You do that about $1,000 at a time. Typical travel is about $1,000 around here, sometimes less, sometimes more. So there was 165 travels that occurred in 2025, you could say, about. With that in mind.
Troy, sorry, I just have a quick
this is a work
question.
session.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify, or that those numbers do not include any like fuel that they're using day to day, just travel doing business within the city. Is that correct?
So it could be daytime travel, same day travel or travel overnight, but no fuel, right?
Right, fuel.
No fuel.
Just
So
wanted to make sure.
just the travel, right?
Okay.
And that's all this policy will talk about. I guess there is a fuel component of it, but it's a very small component of it. But these are the 10 points whenever you talk about travel that need to be discussed. I've kind of highlighted the the ones that I need your direction and counsel on, and kind of the ones I want to talk about too. We do have at the very end of this presentation, I can show you our HR director has a great network around the state where she can put out a question and all 195 localities in the state of Arizona will respond. Not every one of them responded always, but we did get a large sampling of what other places do, and it's all over the board. There is no federal law, there is no state law, there is no local law about how you pay people for travel. So it's really up to council and it's up to management to decide, do we want travel for our employees? And this policy can go more than just employees. That's that first highlight there is elected officials. Do they fall under this policy? Some of them have separate elected official travel policies. Contractors, this is important. This is a vague area. We have people that travel to the city of Safford and they use their own travel policy, which could be more lucrative than what we give our employees right now. You could actually hold them that if you're going to travel and get reimbursed by the city of Safford, you would need to follow the same policy. So that's not unheard of in later policies that you hold your vendors accountable to this policy also. So what do you think of that? Should this be to everybody? Do you want a separate council one? Do you want to, anyone want to weigh in there? Is that too soon?
I have a
Dusty?
quick question, though.
Sorry, Councilmember Bradner.
That's okay. In section 2, letter A of our resolution, so we keep saying we do not have a travel policy. We do. It's listed right there under meals and lodging, and it says reimbursement for meals and lodging will be made at the daily rate published by the United States General Services Administration for the locality in which travel is incurred. So we do have a policy, we're just not enforcing the policy. So
Okay.
that part's already there.
Can I clarify one thing? I don't know if you were listening for my first part of my presentation. I talked too fast, maybe. There's a procedure that actually conflicts with that. If you go to the procedure document, it talks about we do not get per diem. You get paid based on what you actually use. So that's one of the conflicting things that, yes, we have a policy, but we have a procedure that does the exact opposite.
But where is that in this resolution? Because we have to go based off what's on the resolution, right?
That is a good point. We've actually, the procedure is the document that I inherited when I got here. No one knew about the travel policy. So actually what we're following right now is the travel procedure, and it was presented to council, but no action was ever taken on it. So you're right, it's not an official act of council, but the procedure document is what we hold to be the current policy right now, or the current document that holds any sort of weight, and that's probably incorrect. So you are right, there is a travel policy. It does talk about per diem, and we'll get to there. That's, when we talk about a new policy, is it gonna have a per diem or is it gonna have straight pay? We're gonna cover all that, but yes, I do agree, we do have a policy and we do have a procedure, and they do conflict with one another. Any other questions? Should this apply to vendors? Should council have its own? Does anyone want to weigh in that? Is that too soon?
I don't think council needs to have their own.
We don't travel.
Oh, one big travel policy, should our vendors be part of it? Should we hold vendors accountable to this?
I think
Okay, mayor says yes. Anyone else? Don't have, again, we're not making any decisions tonight. I'm just getting your weigh in. We will bring back a resolution where we actually pass something, rescinding the old policy and undoing the procedure. So when we do that, at that point, you can also weigh in. So if this is too soon, and let me know.
I do wonder if there's, are we limiting ourselves on vendors if we force them to follow our policy? If there's a vendor that we want to use and they're not comfortable with our policy and they opt to not even.
That is possible. If you go with a very stringent policy, they might say, I can't do business that way, right?
Right.
So yeah,
that would
that's
be
a good point.
concern for me as for contractors.
All right. Overall, establishing requirements for, so currently, our current travel process, not the policy, talks about how a supervisor and a department head approve all travel in the city of Safford. Nothing goes up to the city manager, nothing comes to council. Anything over $1,000, I think there's a mention of it. We have to do a report for that, but there is no official approval from either the city manager and or the council. Most policies that I looked at, that's a lot of documentation for 165 travels for one man or one lady to approve. So was that something that we want to change? Is it still fine that a supervisor who we pay to supervise and a department head who we pay to manage still makes the decision on travel? Because you have over 22 different programs that happen in the city of Safford, all of them unique and not like the other. So do we depend on those 22 managers to make the decision, or do we depend on one?
Are you leaving the human resources out of it now?
So the original policy talked about the human resources, but the procedure does not. The procedure does not require the Human Resource Department to weigh in. Yes, I would be leaving the human resources out of this. I don't understand why that was ever there. I don't see any policy that ever had human resources in it, except for ours.
I like the supervisors and managers handling that. It's not something I want to manage.
I think it's the most efficient way. As your finance director, I would suggest to keep this as simple administratively as possible.
They make their schedule, so they should schedule it.
And they would also approve travel. So under this guidelines of whatever we pass here as the new policy/procedure, they'll live under that policy and procedure. So you are giving council direction, you're just not telling them how to do it step by step. All right, with that in mind, out-of-state travel and international travel, that's one of those things, most policies skip over it. A lot of our travel is inside the state of Arizona, but for electric, a lot of our travel is outside. Police has a lot of travel outside the state. Does that change their approval process? Does that need more approval? I think travel within the state is pretty similar. I mean, I don't know if that changes anything in your mind. International travel, most places won't even allow it. I've been in government for 20 some odd years, and I've never been in a locality that allows you to travel internationally. It just is not possible. But Mexico is really close to us, and we have a sister city. So we need to have that option for international travel, right? Or we're never going to visit our sister city. So does that require extra approval? Does that not require approval?
But in this day, most stuff is done by Zoom, so is there really something that can't be done via Zoom that we would have to go down to Mexico? Because then we're talking about liability for whoever goes, and that gets us into whole
I
other
would think
realms.
on the front, when we're talking with Mexico, like we went down to their July 4th essentially celebration. I think it's in September, Independence Day. And in cases of like that, you want to go there and be there in person. That's kind of the point, right? Is you're creating that human relationship. So in the case of our relationship with our sister city, yes, I would want to be able to not only go there, but allow them to come here. I know they have an orchestra they're very proud of at some point. Hopefully we'll get it up here. So in the case of that, it's a little bit more where you do want to have that presence.
So then that should be up to you.
Yeah, it can be. Again, we're just kind of
So
roundtable.
I'm trying to get you
figure
under,
this out.
sounds like international travel is plausible in our new policy, right? When we talk about it. And it doesn't require any extra approval. It just, managers will make the right decision and they'll do the right thing for the city of Safford.
I
That's
think
what
your
I'm hearing, right?
international city manager should weigh in on that.
Yeah, that's.
It should at least go to it. I mean,
Can I get a second? Just kidding.
I was
Anyone
gonna-
else?
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay,
It
you got
wouldn't
your
bother me
second?
for that to go
Talking
to
about Mexico.
city manager.
yeah, I think
That,
city
that's not
manager can
uncommon.
approve.
If you did see international travel, you probably would want somebody to make that singular decision because somebody can make a disappointing decision on that one sometimes. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind as I look for policies. And again, what I'll do as your finance director, I'm going to look for the latest and greatest travel policy out there because they've gone through the legal ramifications of it. And I'm going to probably copy that and insert whatever we talk about tonight, whatever we're missing. So I will come back with probably somebody else's policy turned into the city of Safford's policy. So with that in mind, travel, these are the covered expenses. I didn't cover anything here. These are kind of, you cover everything underneath the sun for travel, transportation, airfare, mileage reimbursement, rental cars, public transit, lodging, hotel rates, youth conference. That's travel should cover all that. Basically, we're asking people to be away from their families, away from their sole base. So they need to be compensated in some way for that. So these are typical things you're going to find in there. Baggage is a one that you don't really talk about too much, but when you're on a flight, most flights don't make you pay for extra for baggage. So is that something that we're going to cover? Yes, no? Anyone feel anything different about that? Parking?
Yes, for sure. On everything I'm seeing on here is a yes.
These all seem like reasonable costs that you would pay for, right? Okay, and then non-reimbursable expenses, the state's gonna dictate you can't reimburse them for alcohol. Entertainment, you go to Topgolf, that's not something that the city pays for. That's something that you do with your money. That's the decision you make. Personal side trips, oftentimes I go to conferences and they offer a golf tournament. Should that be on your own dollar or should that be on the city of Safford? You're networking, you're not networking, you're talking to others. I mean, this is pretty common for professional organizations to put on hikes, biking trips. They're a little bit extra, but they are part of the conference. Is that something that you would come out of your own pocket to pay for? Or is that something the city of Safford would pay for?
Maybe at the end of the day, we should be asking, is it going to generate business or revenue for the city?
And that can go back to that initial question up here, define the purpose of the travel. If they can define it, then we'll allow it, right? So we're not being so rigid that we can't do anything, right?
And you won't know the answer to that until after you've done it, right? So.
Well, I can make a case to go shopping for the city of Safford at any
Right,
point.
I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying if you go
But I'm
out on the
saying-
golf course and make a deal, you won't know that unless you're on the golf course.
True.
Right.
Or
But I
from-
can't say that I don't, not a golfer myself, but the networking, getting to know other finance directors, getting to know their struggles with travel policies. You don't do that in a conference where you're just listening to someone talk for 2 hours, right? So
Networking is very important.
it is part of most of these conferences. So I just want to make sure we're open to that. Family and guest expenses, again, that's pretty clear that the city of Safford is here to pay for the employee. If you want to take your spouse, you want to take your children, anything that you're paying for should not include their cost in it, right? This is pretty upgrades. Some people are 6 feet, 7 feet tall. They can't fit into a coach seat. Is first class all right? Is a luxury hotel all right? Is a premium car rental? I get the Mustang instead of the Camry. Is that, I have this all in the non-reimbursables. Is that, are we,
Good.
we're gonna set some sort of standard, no luxury. You're not here to wine and dine yourself. You're just here to go to conference, right? Okay, standards. So this is where we're gonna talk about per diem. So I just wanted to show you what per diem looks like.
But on the parking, it said that you will take the least expensive parking if it's offered somewhere. But there's times where people use valet for the safety of it. So that's kind of iffy to me too. I don't want to park a million miles away if it's not a very lit place. Not only
good
for
point.
myself, but the vehicle may be a city vehicle.
And I've gone to fancy conferences where the only thing you can do is valet. You can't park your car. So unless you want me to sell the city vehicle as I get to the conference, I have to find some way to park it, right?
That's the way it was
giving
worded
you
in there.
the-
You had
the
to
trick
take
of it all.
that parking.
I think it just comes down to being reasonable.
Yeah,
What
reasonable.
would the reasonable person do?
And that's where we're gonna ask supervisors and department heads to make that decision. What does a reasonable person do? So this is hard to enforce when people abuse this, because reasonable is a hard thing to define, but we're gonna try through a policy. Other localities have done it. We can put a policy out there that has a few guardrails on it, right?
And per diem, it's kind of, and when I was looking at it, it's kind of hard to fix a meal ticket at a certain amount, because if you are stuck at the hotel, motel, resort, wherever you stay, if you're stuck there, the prices there are high.
I can give
So-
a great example of that. I guess my first conference here that I went to was in Flagstaff, and we got snowed in. Like I've lived in snow through my career, but the Tahoe was truly snowed in up to the window, and we were truly snowed in. And so the hotel, they started charging a premium to eat at the restaurant, right? And so, what are you going to do?
Well, there's the reasonable again.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that our policy doesn't need to be so rigid that you just can't do anything. It's going to be flexible. The city of Safford is here to assist you in your training and your conference opportunities, but at the same time, we want you to be cognizant of the taxpayer's dollar, right?
And it also said in there that when you do have meals, you'd have a receipt, and everybody that was there would be accounted for.
So let's talk about that. When you're doing per diem,
It's
per diem
seen-
is this, when everyone talks about per diem, there's federal per diem and there's also a state of Arizona per diem. So this is federal per diem. What's great about this website is it updates. Like they update this every October with latest and greatest rates. But at the same time, there's a downfall to this. Like if you look at the standard rate for a hotel for Arizona, so if you don't live in one of those special communities, Kayenta, Grand Canyon, Phoenix, Sedona, or Tucson, so this is Safford. You know how much a nightly hotel is in city of Safford? If I gave a vendor $110, that would cover a third of their cost. I mean, so GSA is great. The federal government knows a lot about localities, but they don't know about Safford. They don't understand that the cost of a hotel room during the weekdays here is $300. If you're during the weekend, it's probably $110. So that's a pretty accurate GSA rate. So the GSA rate has its downfalls, but it also, it's the only thing that's most accurate and up to date. If you look at the Arizona per diem rates, they were like passed in 2022 or something like that. And they were locked in stone back in time. So they're not very accurate whatsoever, but counties have to follow state of Arizona GSA rates. So it is a source. And you'll see that some of the policies that we cite at the very end of this presentation, they follow the state of Arizona per diem rate. So again, there's no rule about what you do. You could decide I'm going to give $100. You can do whatever you want, but GSA, I think, is still a good source. But like for conferences, you need to understand that most conferences, that hotel rate is never going to apply. So maybe we do a little bit different on the hotels. We pay for that with the P card, and whatever the conference rate for the hotel is, that's what we're paying. But when it comes to food and meals, which is down here at the bottom of the GSA website, that's a little bit more reasonable. I think you can get a dinner for $28 in Safford, right? That's not unheard of. $19 for a lunch, $16 for a breakfast. Where I'm going to point you to is I think this is actually going to drive our cost up. As that first slide I showed you, the $165,000, we only pay when you actually eat a meal. So if you're in a conference all day and you're not able to eat, or the conference provides a meal, we only pay for your dinner. So we might only give you, it may be a $75 meal, but that's still less, or I guess that's a bad example. It may be a $50 meal, but it's not $68. So if you're giving per diem, are we going to give per diem for the whole day? Is that going to be the way it goes? Or what are your ideas when it comes to per diem? I'd like to see a hybrid policy from us, a one that we're using the P card still, taking advantage of what we're actually spending for like hotels, airline tickets, taking that cost burden off the employee, that they don't have to carry that themselves. But when it comes to meals, are we going to go with per diem? It has a first and last day on there. Are we going to use that as the gospel, and no matter what, we're going to pay per diem? Because what's great about per diem is I don't need to ask for any receipts. So I just pay you $68 for every day you go. The first and last day is $51 if you're going to Safford. And then you don't tell me about what you bought, right? You go do what you're going to do. If you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't. I think it's going to raise our costs a little bit. Because like I said, if you're not eating, we currently don't pay for it. So you don't get $68 every day. But this is more commonplace. You'll see with most places, per diem is more common. But it's not unheard of what the city of Safford's doing, where we just pay for whatever it costs. Whatever you want to go eat, we pay for that.
And I think doing it with the hotel makes no sense. Because if I'm going to a conference, they've got rates and they're locked in. So if I was going to do per diem, I would do per diem for meals and incidentals would require receipts. That's how we did it in Sierra Vista. That's how we did it in Herndon. So again, making it be a hybrid isn't all that unusual. And again, if you're going to a hotel and there's a conference, generally you're getting a better rate to begin with. So it's locked in. And then you can decide, because it may be that, even at the league conference, there was days where they had lunch, there was days lunch on your own, right? So again, I think you could take the hotel, and then if you wanted to do per diem, and then if you had incidental, I got to take a cab from point A to point B, well, I keep that receipt, I have an incidental. So you have a 3-tier system where the hotel is locked in, you do a per diem, and then use receipts for incidentals, right? I mean, that's just a model.
Anyone want to weigh in? This is the one where your biggest change in your policy is going to be right here on this standard and limits. Are we talking a hybrid model? Are we talking a pure GSA model? Are we talking a dollar amount of our own? I mean, all of you have traveled. What do you think is the most fair, and where do we want to be at the city of Safford? I told you what my idea is, the hybrid method. And that's, I think, I have to understand there's people that can barely afford to travel, and there's people like myself that travel is not that big of a deal. So I have to weigh both of those in when I'm talking about this policy.
I think the hybrid is the fairest way.
I think hybrid would be good.
I mean, if you didn't eat a meal, you don't need paid for it. But
So you want to go with that instead of per diem,
Well,
like just I'll pay for what it costs.
I don't want to have to eat Taco Bell because that's all I can afford, because that's all you're buying.
So the federal per diem would, $28 is a little bit more than Taco Bell. So, but is it enough for wherever you're going? If you're in Sedona, I don't know, $28 for dinner sometimes covers it.
Well, it's per city. You're going to know where you're traveling, so you're going to type in city, and that amount's going to be there for you.
Yeah. Again,
But like I'm saying,
prices are all
I don't
over.
want to tell somebody they can't. I mean, if I want to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you owe me for it. But if I only eat dinner and I ate it at the conference and I was okay with a banana bread muffin.
So would you like the current model that our procedure gives, not the policy, that you continue to use your P card, you continue to turn in receipts, and we pay for whatever it is? you kind of use the GSA as a guideline, but it's not a concrete barrier. It's not a standard that has a maximum. It's just a,
I think there needs to be an amount per meal because that's what brought this whole thing up.
and what would that amount be? Would it be the federal per diem or the state per diem or an amount that you think of?
I mean, some of these say $65. I mean, we could pick an amount that's reasonable. I mean, I don't know.
Not the ever floating GSA federal rate. You want to pick a dollar amount.
Per meal, yeah.
Okay. Anybody
Because
else?
Not having that amount is what got us to where we're at now.
Well,
Say that.
at the league, I did not eat dinner there because you couldn't get a meal for that $65.
And that's just the dinner. I mean, the dinner's $28. So if you couldn't get a meal, couldn't get a dinner for $65.
Couldn't get a
then-
dinner for $65 at the restaurant on site.
So these are all good cases. What should we do? Should we keep doing what we're doing or should we change?
I like our procedure
I-
that we have right now.
I do as well.
I
So we
do
got
as well.
2, 3 for current procedure and Mayor 4 for current procedure.
And
What is your hybrid?
The hybrid would be, I would push for per diem for the meals. But for when it comes to hotel and anything incidental, anything we can do on a credit card, we do it on a credit card. But per diem, you're gonna see is out there. I would follow the federal per diem because it's a little bit more nimble. But again, if somebody came with a reasonable, like Steve's situation, I tried to eat at the Princess and it was $65 for dinner. I think that's gotta be a reasonable cost where we would allow per diem to be skipped and a P card to be exchanged, but you'd have to get back to $28, right? Give us back the $28 that we gave you in per diem and we can talk about a more expensive dinner.
I'm for skipping the per diem completely and just sticking with what we're doing myself.
I agree with that. And I think, in the procedures you talk about, expenses being reasonable. And also in the procedures you talk about the approval process prior to the meeting. They're already requesting a certain dollar amount and you or directors or supervisors are approving that. And the expectation would be that you would follow through with that. The employee would follow through with that. And when they returned, they're, in good faith going to follow what you approved for them to spend, which I would assume would be approving something reasonable stated in the procedures.
So in the case of Steve, you would not reimburse for $65. You would tell him that was an inappropriate dinner.
Well, again, there's circumstances, so I guess, is it reasonable? Steve, is it reasonable?
And I got in my truck and drove 5 miles to Five Guys and I spent $24 for a hamburger.
You
Which
stayed
is
within the
doable.
dinner.
I mean, and it was doable.
Doable.
Okay.
Took me an
I-
extra hour, but
Well, I guess you don't get paid hourly with that employee, get paid for
And
that
aren't you
hour.
gonna do that at a conference? If you're going like through lunch and then you're going from a session to lunch to another session, you're not gonna drive
And
5 miles to get lunch,
A
right?
good example is I'm sending a team to go learn about Cassell, our financial system. No one's ever got a lot of training on it. So we're going to Utah and I'm encouraging them to take transit. So their ability to go find a place on transit is going to be a little limited. But I mean, when I lock you in at a hotel and lock you in at a conference, you don't have a lot of options like that. So
Well, council has used DoorDash before. We saw that last year. There
that
was
is true.
charges.
DoorDash has opened a whole different world for us.
So we're not locked in a hotel where we can't go
You guys
somewhere.
are giving me a lot of conflict here. I have no idea what to do for this policy.
I think what got us here is the citizens didn't agree with how we were spending. They proved that in their comments on Facebook and calling us. So I think we just need to find something that's reasonable so we don't go down that route again.
their comments were the same ones that wanted me to eat at Taco Bell for $10. And I'm not gonna do that even when I live here. When I'm in Phoenix.
It's because it's in Thatcher, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend my money in some other town.
Right, and those certainly weren't the only comments. Even some of the comments on the one you're referring to, there were different perspectives than that, just
Yeah,
that.
there were two self-business owners that said, spend whatever, but those were
Right,
self-owned
and
business
then
owners.
other public talking to other council people.
I'm sure.
Right.
But,
So you
I
said
mean, we
that
need
rather
to take it-
definitively, which.
No, I just said we need to take in their stuff too, not just our own
Right,
personal.
and I'm
feelings.
pointing out that that's what I'm doing.
Right,
with
not
my
just our
recommendation.
personal feelings. We need the public input. too.
Right, and I'm telling you that what I'm saying from the dais is the input I've received from the public, not my personal.
That's fine. I didn't say you didn't.
Well, you said we.
We what?
We as the council, we.
So that's
we-
what got us into this, is not listening to the public. And just, we don't have, saying we don't have anything, and we do. We currently have a policy that was put in 2003
Correct.
that we are not following.
Right.
It says. So I don't think it's necessarily making a new policy. I think it's amending the policy.
Oh, we definitely need to clean the policy up. I
Yeah,
don't think there's no question
I
about
can't have a
that.
procedure and policy that conflicts, so. But going forward, it sounds like I have more consensus on the idea of we just keep doing P cards. We give a GSA recommendation, but it's not a locked in stone, I'm not gonna give you any other options, $68. It's use your P card and be reasonable with those expectations.
That's the way I feel. The flexibility of the P card we need at different places, but within reason. And what else got us here was the reporting of it. That people would have a meal and say couple $100, and it looked like one person ate it. Now, I knew just one person didn't eat it, but we were asking for clarification and right in there what it was, because even in the policy, it says you will note who else was on that meal. It's in there. So,
So I guess that covers the next point of documentation and receipts, that if you're gonna use your P card, it needs to be an itemized receipt, and the description needs to be very clear about how many people were there.
step up and do it right. Don't just write one meal, you know, and it's like $180, you know. That's,
And again, we said no family or friends should be paid for with that meal, but can a vendor be at the meal?
well, when we ask people to come here to town, do we pay some of their expenses to come here?
I do, because I know that they'll turn around and charge me more if they do it through their per diem.
That's what you tried to say. That's why we had a meat platter, but, okay.
I haven't bought a
know
meat
that.
platter in my life, but I mean, I do when I bring some of our vendors here,
Mhm.
I do pay for them because the agreement that we have in the contract is they'll use their own travel policy, which is gonna be more expensive than if I just pay for you here.
Yep,
So
that's it.
I do feed our vendors when they come for me for finance, because I also want their attention for the full 11 hours that they're here, right? I don't wanna waste any
But,
time.
Again, I like the flexibility of the P card within reason and document what you used it for.
Okay, so better descriptions, is that, Councilmember Ratner? Is that better? Is that solvent?
I
Does that
think-
answer the public's question?
I believe so.
Okay.
We can only go off of what's on the documentation. I'm not going to try to guess and do all that. If it says this is what it was, then that's what it was.
Okay.
So if we don't want that look out there, then we need to make sure that we're doing the documentation correctly.
Okay, and also, if those that constantly don't document, don't do things right, are they going to continue to have a P card?
So we will be bringing back the P card policy at a future meeting, so we can have that discussion
Yeah.
about following through on use of the P card. If you continue to do things incorrectly per that policy, then you would possibly lose your P card.
And I like the idea of the immediate supervisor is the one responsible for it. That's where it all starts. From the start.
Again, I want to be very clear to our employees here that I need you to use your P card. We can't run everything through the accounts payable department. That's 22,000 transactions. Please use your P card when it's appropriate and document it well, okay? No one got the wrong impression here, right? Okay, just making it clear. All right, moving on. So advances, those payments don't need to happen because we're just talking P cards, so there is no need for advances, right? And there's no need for per diem. Ethics, accountability, I do see these in a few policies. It talks about multiple staff members, like having to share hotel rooms and things together. I don't think this is a great idea. I think everyone gets their own room, everyone is separate, there's no need to combine together. I mean, when you're traveling to the valley for a conference, whenever you can get in the light car together, and again, using the city vehicle, our vehicles we sell with very low mileage. So using a city vehicle whenever possible to put the miles on that rather than your personal vehicle, that's a great recommendation. Is that something that, but again, we'll allow you to use your vehicle, because again, you might take your spouse. It's probably not appropriate for your spouse to be in the city vehicle riding in the passenger seat. So your own vehicle, and we would pay you per diem based on the mileage used in your own vehicle. We're not gonna make it so rigid that we don't allow that, but again, whenever possible, use a city vehicle to go to the conference, especially if it's in state. Don't travel to Texas.
Do
didn't see a
we,
vehicle.
do we now need to have a reliable city vehicle?
We're getting better. Arnold, have you seen our fleet? We're getting better.
Yeah, I've seen the fleet. I've been with this bunch when we paid for
Are
it.
you not
but
impressed? I am impressed by how
that-
much we've come in my year and a
well,
half here.
I remember the days when we'd always steal bees to go out of town. And are we gonna have a vehicle that's roadworthy and can make it there?
Thanks to our council, we have more reliable vehicles. So I can say that that's not typically a problem anymore, but it could be. And that could be a reason that they don't want to take it.
I mean, for the short ones.
Yeah.
For, we're running to Bisbee or Patagonia or something, we should be able to take our vehicles.
Okay.
And fuel up here to start with. Not go to Benson and top off on that dime, fuel up at our own.
That is true. We do get it a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, we get it a little bit cheaper to start with. That's what we mean by the common sense and integrity behind it.
Okay.
Troy,
Well,
do we allow for Airbnbs or,
yes, we do.
so I
So
would
again,
like-
since you
I-
don't actually have a per diem locking that down, an
Right.
Airbnb is an option.
I don't mind the Airbnb, but I would like something stating that an employee can't use their own Airbnb if they're like at a,
Someone has a conflict of interest
if someone has. a
and they have not
conflict of
disclosed
interest.
it? I don't know
I
that
don't know
situation,
that.
but that's a good point that you shouldn't be using your own product to sell to the city. That's just got bad news written over it, which is a good point on disclosure of outside of funding. I just want to make it clear that like, if we're getting paid by another entity, we need to disclose that. Like, there's no such thing as travel that you get to do because a vendor paid for it. Again, why is a vendor paying for your travel? There's a lot of problematic things about that. You just need to disclose the fact of who's actually paying for this and what are you getting from them, right? Just to be open and transparent, we don't do anything for vendors, especially. Our ethics policy requires us to not take anything from our vendors. It's strictly a business relationship. It's not a friendship. Business, not friendship, right?
And if we go with P card and stay with P card and be reasonable, that's not causing you any more headache than what you got.
I appreciate that. My paperwork has definitely will go down. I was going to create my own documentation nightmare. I'm not having to do that now. I'm appreciating it.
That's what we want.
So far.
That's what we want.
I haven't made it yet, so we'll have to see how it turns out. I'm trying to keep, again, the travel policy shouldn't be an 18-page document, right? I'm trying to keep it to like 6 or 8 pages, something like that can be read and understood and digested. I mean, I don't need like every key point in there. Safety and, again, use of city-owned vehicles, I think Vice Mayor Lopez covered that. Audit procedures for travel, we currently don't, short of our auditors ask about compliance with our travel policy, we don't do a lot of in-depth dive. We don't second-guess a manager or a supervisor about travel. We kind of just go with it. We pay, the P card gets paid, that all gets coded right. We don't have an audit procedure. We don't currently have the manpower to probably do an audit of travel. Again, there's 165 of them. It's less than 1% of the budget. I don't know if we need to get really overwhelmed with that small of an expenditure. Okay. So here's again, the slide I kept talking about. I made it an eye test, really small. As you can see, everyone is underneath the sun. I think I have enough direction from you guys. Tucson recently released a travel policy that I know has been vetted by their attorneys. So I'm going to start there. I think it covered a lot of what we talked about tonight, and I'm going to try to amend from there. So I will bring back, I don't know if it'll be at our next meeting, because our next meeting has got a lot of stuff on it, but you will get a travel resolution, which will undo the policy and undo whatever the procedure was done back in the day. And we'll have a concrete, this is our policy going forward, okay?
And this keeps us out of a taxable benefit.
Yeah, anything I give you, that's why I would use somebody's current travel policy, as they've covered that tax law to make sure that we're not benefiting an employee incorrectly. So, all right, with that in mind, does everyone feel good about it?
Feel good.
We're gonna fix one thing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll close the work session and reconvene back into our regular meeting. Item number 12. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes of August 25th?
I just had a small comment. I did, not that I want everything I say in the minutes, but you see that some of our minutes didn't show up from years ago on what we had said and did. But I did say about the airport that we do have lots of other things going on out there, building the hangars and a lot of things that benefit our community. And just wanted that to be noted.
What counts as the official minutes? Is it the written or is it the video? Because several times we have said, well, we'll go back and look at the minutes. And if it's not written, then you guys say, well, it wasn't in there. So which one is which so we know? Is it the video where if we say, hey, we said, and you guys say, well, it wasn't in the minutes, do you go back and watch the video for the official or do you go back and do the written?
So if there's any corrections, Councilwoman Bratner, I go back and actually listen to the audio that's not on YouTube. It's one that's internally recorded to make sure if there's any thing that was missed on YouTube. Sometimes there's glitches on YouTube. But the official minutes that get recorded for the city of Safford, for the history, for the rest, is whatever is approved tonight within the
The written
council meeting.
minutes.
So there's a lot missing then, because even when I read through them, I know Arnold had quite a bit of comments on the airport, but nothing.
So I do not do verbatim. I'd only do information that is actually in action for that item. So if you say, hey, I liked how Cameron did that presentation, I usually don't put that in there. I do
Okay.
not do verbatim minutes.
Okay, so we just need to, so if it's for the action.
Yes,
And if you don't speak into your mic, it's definitely not there.
correct. A lot of times it's just a guessing game. I wish I could show you the script that comes up on YouTube because that'll give me the transcript of it. None of your guys' words ever match because it's hard when you guys are sitting this far back. We can't hear it.
I just wanted to make sure the airport got credit for all they do.
Yeah,
You
and I
do.
can note it on
You
tonight's
do.
minutes if you'd like. So the next meeting, I'll note it on there. Unless you, as a council, want me to go note that on the minutes that are up for approval, then we can just approve it with the amendment, and I'll send out an email with the amended minutes. If you're insisting on it to say Vice Mayor Lopez said the great things that the airport's doing. So it's up to the council.
No, I'll probably look at you from now on and say, make sure that gets in there. How's that?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that again. I don't want that to turn into a verbatim because every sentence you say could turn into, make sure that's on the minutes, make sure that's on the minutes. At that point, I mean, I spend 2.5 days doing these minutes without interruption.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would turn into maybe just download the transcript and have it. put
I
in 2
wouldn't do
minutes.
that to you, B.
Thank you.
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for August 25th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve August 25th council meeting minutes. All in favor? Opposed? It carries. I'd just like to say one thing. What I keep hearing, we have to communicate with our citizens better. So many things we do, we talk about, like at the airport, comments. We have to get that out to the citizens. We talk about it, we put a little blurb on our utility bills. We do radio talk programs and that, but it just seems like there's someplace else we have to somehow, a newsletter or something. I just feel like our citizens aren't aware of all the things we're doing, and we're doing a lot. It'd be good if they knew what we're doing.
And Mayor, we're trying to work on that. I've been having those discussions, and I know that Mr. Bejarano has done a lot more now with events and even things like accidents and things of that nature. So we're getting more of that out. We've been having discussions about an annual report that would also provide additional information. Of course, Facebook, and then even some of the quarterly reports will be adding some narrative. So that will be instructive. Of course, the website is there. That has a lot of information on it. The one thing that my experience has shown me, you never put out enough information. Someone's always going to say they didn't get that message or they didn't hear that piece of information. But one of the things that we are trying to develop with the assistance of Mr. Bejarano is getting more and more information. I think we're making progress. I think there's more that we can do, especially at a higher level. And I know that we do monthly reports. They get posted on the website. We have information on our departments on the website. So we're working on it.
We don't use the bill often enough. The bill we send up, usually there's a space. We use it once in a while, but not often enough.
And that's a good point. So we recently, like with the Bulldog reunion, we did decide that we would use that written area and put something in there. So definitely, And also, just as an FYI, as part of that process and having seen a flyer that was created by one of our employees, I'm in the process now of kind of trying to standardize software through different departments, police, city manager, clerk, the MIOC, the Public Works Department, because I want to start working more on getting information out there and using a standardized software package so it's easy for us to communicate, stitch things together. So again, we'll continue to develop that ability to provide that outreach and also even things like radio. We were talking today about an issue I'd like to talk about, the rates. You know, we get so much feedback on rates. Most of it is people not completely understanding the rates. You know, how do we do a better job of getting that information out there? It's a difficult subject. So it's a constant battle, but note taken, and we will continue to work to increase that outreach.
Thank you.
Even how do you read your bill?
Yeah.
Yeah. It get beat up on that one.
We'll move on to item number 2, special event liquor license application for the chamber mixer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Purpose of this is to request the Mayor and City Council to review and approve the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control application presented in support of the 2025 Nature Suite Salsa Festival Chamber Mixer event in association with the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. This application requires approval by the local governing body for final consideration by the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. Strategic goals is quality of life. Background, the Chamber Mixer will be held on Thursday, September 25th, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the venue and Vinette on Main. The Mixer is a traditional pre-festival event hosted by the Graham County Chamber in gratitude to the various sponsors supporting the Salsa Festival. Analysis. The Graham Chamber of Commerce Special Event License application provides a detailed security plan which notes the event venue location as an open container alcohol zone for on-site consumption. There will be only one controlled entry and exit point at the venue along with 3 other existing emergency exit points. 2 to 4 event staff will provide security oversight to ensure all attendees purchasing alcohol are checked for proper ID. Wristbands will be required to identify those patrons able to purchase and carry alcoholic beverages. A 2-drink purchase per bar visit will be enforced and all patron consumption monitored. All servers will have the required Arizona Title IV alcohol services certifications as well. Recommendations. The City of Safford staff supports and highly recommends the City Council's approval of this application. And you do have a diagram of the actual setup of the security plan at the vignette and venue, indicating the 3 actual exits and of course the only entry and exit point for actual event participants. Standing by for any questions.
Anybody? If not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve the special event liquor license application for the Chamber Mixer.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special event liquor license application for the chamber. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. And we'll move on to item 3, special event liquor license application for the Salsa Fest.
Again, good evening. This is a request for Mayor and City Council to review and approve the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses Control application presented in support of the 2025 Nature Suite Salsa Festival Year of the Mariachi event in association with the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. This application again requires approval by the local governing body for final consideration by the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. Again, this strategic goal is quality of life. Background, the Salsa Festival is a 2-day event scheduled for Friday, September 26th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and on Saturday, September 27th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. The event will take place on the Safford City Hall lawn, City Hall Drive, Main Street between 8th and 6th Avenues. Analysis. The Graham Chamber of Commerce Special Event License application provides a detailed security plan which will include a cordoned-off area encompassing the entire City Hall lawn, identified by barriers and signage to define the open container alcohol zone. There will be 3 controlled entry/exit points with security oversight located off Main Street at the lawn entrance walkway that leads to the Firemen's Memorial on 7th Avenue and City Hall Drive entrance for patrons, and at the east end of the event stage for staff and event personnel access. Furthermore, 2 roving security personnel wearing identifying vests will roam the lawn area throughout the 2-day event to ensure no alcohol is permitted beyond the designated alcohol zone. All attendees purchasing alcohol will be checked for proper ID and provided with wristbands to identify patrons able to purchase, carry, and consume alcoholic beverages. All servers will have the required Arizona Title IV alcohol service certifications and will ensure only 2 beverages are purchased per visit. Servers and event security staff will also closely monitor all patron consumption. The Nature Suite Salsa Festival remains an annual tradition supporting the spirit of the season and continues to promote a sense of community unity, morale, and pride. The City of Safford staff supports and highly recommends the City's Council's approval of this application. And once again, the packet includes the security diagram of the City Hall lawn, as in the past. Standing for any questions?
I have one, sir. Again, Mick, the Porta-John. Talking to the Porta-John person, they say that it's easier for them also when they work with us to identify the males and the females if we do put our paper up there saying this is a lady one. They say that adds to it, you know, that it's especially for the ladies. And then sometimes you put advertisement on there, or the chamber does, and cover it up. So maybe you could work together to make that happen. They appreciate it when we mark them.
Mayor and Vice Mayor and council members, we would definitely look at that and make sure it happens.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I move that we approve the special event liquor license application for Salsa Fest.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special liquor license application for the Salsa Fest. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to item 13, report on operational items.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Let's see. 1 second. That didn't work. There we go. I'm here today to present to you the gas equipment modernization update. Our gas department goals and our priorities are safety and modernization. This not only saves labor, but makes our system more efficient and safer. Our system upgrades and remote monitoring reduces man hours that can be used to update and expand our gas system. The use of updated leak detection equipment is more sensitive and has less of an impact on customers. Public relations and awareness is at a top priority for our department, with radio, online ads, public liaison meetings, and setting up safety information booths at fairs and public gatherings. Our gas detection equipment was a federally funded, grant-funded project. Our gas detection equipment has been updated to more safer, more sensitive equipment. The equipment gives us the ability to survey the complete gas system in less than half the time it used to take us. Laser and infrared technology let us survey inside customers' yards and through windows without having to gain access. With this new technology, the gas division can now leak survey our entire system every year versus every 4 years. Our leak detection equipment that we currently have is 5 times more sensitive than the stuff we had last year, which makes for a great improvement. Our grant funds utilized, this was 100% grant funded, and we utilized $173,970. Just to show you the sensitivity of our equipment, if you look in the picture right there, we were driving down the street and we were over that manhole. We picked up a leak about 30 feet away where that arrow is. It was about 3.5 feet deep, encased in concrete, and it was a small little leak on top of a cap. And we were able to pick it up 30 feet away with our equipment, which is say how great that is. And driving down the street's pretty nice. Our gas meter upgrade is a federally grant-funded project. This project will upgrade all gas meters that are over 10 years old. We're going to replace 2,300 meters out of the 3,800 that we currently have. It will also add 2 temporary full-time employees over the next 2 years to assist with the meter changes. Our new employees, or temporary employee labor, is going to be $159,000. Our existing employees will also get paid when they're working on that project. That's going to be about $271,000, and that also includes all benefits, retirement, and everything. And that's all 100% grant funded, and it's $107,000 for benefits. And then we're going to purchase gas meters at $541,000, which is part of that. The total cost of this project is $1,080,000. That's 100% grant funded, which hopefully will start by the end of this year. Our gas pipeline upgrades. The gas line replacement project consists of replacing steel mains with polyethylene. Construction for this project will begin in January 2026. This project will be completed utilizing in-house workforce. Areas to be replaced are the Bonita Elm area between in 2026, then Catalina, Willow, and Luna in 2027, then 20th Street in 2028, then north of Highway 70 in the St. Rose de Lima area in 2029 through 2032. This will take 2 to 3 employees full-time. Our 2026 cost is going to be about $95,000. That's not including labor. Our rectifier monitoring system. The rectifier monitoring system update project will update all 8 of our rectifiers to a remote monitoring system. Test points will also be monitored by the system, and it'll actually utilize the census system that we currently have for our gas meters and water meters and electric meters. So we'll use that to remote monitor our CP and rectifier system. This will allow us to set up alarms and be notified immediately of any issues that come up with our rectifiers. In the past, we found that electric meters have been turned off, or actually construction has impacted our cathodic protection. We had one area by St. Rose de Lima that a construction project actually impacted our CP system, and we spent about a month trying to locate that. If we had this system, we would have just found it as soon as it happened. So it saved us a lot of time and a lot of energy. Our 2026 cost is going to be $55,000. Our other gas department modernization projects are our regulator station upgrades. We've updated our regulator station to have remote monitoring, and the new regulators we use are a lot safer, easier to replace, test, and parts are readily accessible. They also have a remote monitoring to tell us alarms if any issues come up, high pressure, low pressure, or temperatures. Our pressure relief valve assembly upgrades, these are installed off the Kinder Morgan high pressure lines and at the city gates. So they're our first protection into the system. If Kinder Morgan ever has an issue, these will protect the city from high pressure. Not only are they safer, but more modern assemblies, they also require less maintenance, and the parts are real easy to replace with the newer ones. Our chart recorders have actually been updated from a weekly chart recorder to monthly, so we don't have to go out there every week. We can just go out there every month, and we don't have to keep 52 pieces of paper. We only have to keep 12. So that helps us a lot, and it's a lot easier to notice the small differences. Our tapping and bypass equipment upgrades allow us to safely replace gas lines, meters, and services without impacting customers. So if a customer's not home, we don't have to wait for them. We can actually replace their meter without even impacting their system. Or if we have a line break, we can actually pinch it off and keep flow going through the line without having to turn a large section of people off. Our isolated steel replacements reduce the time we have to inspect customer assemblies and take readings. And once they're all replaced, our yearly inspection and monitoring are no longer required. Our city works in digitizing documentation. This will allow us to access records and documents a lot easier. This will allow us to track work done and track the problem areas faster and easier. Our directional boring equipment and vacuum excavation equipment allows us to install lines with minimal impact to city streets or customer yards, property. And then helping others. The City of Safford Gas Division is currently well-staffed and very knowledgeable and experienced crew. Not only does that help our Safford citizens, but also our neighboring systems, Southwest Gas, City of Wilcox, Benson, Duncan Valley Electric, and have all requested IGAs and mutual aid agreements with us. We've assisted Benson, Wilcox, Duncan Valley, the Navajo Tribe Authority, Southwest Gas, Graham County Electric, Safford Federal Prison, FMI, Pinnacle, ADOT, City of Safford Water, Electric, and IT in various ways, from parts, tools, equipment, procedures, welding work, training, and even directional boring for some of them. Arizona Corporation Commission has completed numerous specialized and field audits with us with no findings or any issues found. We've also implemented a gas rebate program that's given out about $2,000 this last fiscal year back to our customers. That's all I have currently. Do you guys have any questions, comments?
I just have one for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You said lasers and something else that could go
Infrared.
in. Yes.
Yes.
We're using that responsibly, right? Because I really don't want the chief to be getting calls of,
Oh.
hey, they're peeking in my windows.
No. So
We deal with enough.
well, we don't look inside of we don't go inside of buildings. That's only like if somebody calls and say they had a gas leak or high usage, we'll go out there and we'll check inside before anybody goes inside. What these lasers are used for is like going inside to over fences and into customers' yard. What actually prompted us to do this was one time when I was leak surveying, we had this lady that she had a dog in her yard, so we had to go in there and just check the line and the meter for a leak. And this poor lady had her kids inside. She had to go over there and grab the dogs. Took her about 15, 20 minutes to catch the dogs, go inside, get the leak survey, all that, and then it only took us about 2 minutes. And then she had to, seeing all that by it, I thought, there should be a better way. So we bought this laser. Now we don't even have to go inside the fence. We can just point the laser at the gas meter and the line. We don't point inside houses or anything like that.
Okay, perfect.
And we only use that inside, into glasses when we have or into a house when we have an issue like high usage or odor complaint or something like that.
Just gave me a little scare there. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no.
Raymond, do you have all the gas meters up? They all up to the houses now?
About 95% are. When we do projects, we'll move them up to the house. There are some instances where customers want them out in their area. We've only had 1 or 2 of those in the last 8 years. But when we do construction, we will actually move them up to the house. And if a customer has a leak on their yard line, we'll give them an offer. If you dig a trench, we'll move the gas meter right up to your house. And that way they're not responsible for their yard line. So we are trying to move everyone, and they come as we do projects, or if even a customer requests it, we'll look at it and see if it's something simple we can do, or if they have a leak or something like that. It's a lot easier. We've had that a couple times where a customer had a leak on their yard line where the gas meter was out in the fence. And we tell them, you know what, you dig a trench, we'll just move that right up there, save you money instead of having to pay a plumber to move to install a whole new line. We'll just move it for you, save you time and money.
On the rectifier, I'd like to tag along with you one of these days and see how that works.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's we convert AC to DC and put it in a gas line. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, one of these days
That's still for corrosion?
Yeah. What we do is we put a negative charge on our gas lines, and that negative charge keeps it from rusting away or deteriorating. And then we have anodes installed right next to the rectifiers, which actually they erode, and so our gas lines stay the same. And we found gas lines from 1936 that look like brand new because of this cathodic protection system.
I thought that was cathodic protection.
Yeah.
Now, you said the flow. You said you're able to work on the lines and stuff, and it sounded like you didn't have to go back and light pilots.
Yeah, we actually have a system where we can actually this is actually one of the new meters. Right here, this has a bypass built in. This is what we're installing. If they don't have a bypass in, we have a system that we purchased that we can actually drill into the customer's gas line, put a balloon in there, and actually have a tank and feed the customer gas. And we can turn it off, replace the meter and everything else, put it back on, and the customer always has gas during that time. We'll, once the gas meter is in, we'll remove the balloon and then just put a tap and cap that line, and that way they'll never have to be without gas. We'd rather do it with the customer there so we can test for leaks, but if for some reason we can't do it or a customer's not available and we don't have to impede on them, we'll actually replace it using that system.
Now, on the boring machine, was it your crew that had a couple of people go to a class and receive even national recognition?
Yes, sir. We had two employees go over there to Iowa and do training on the directional boring machine. We will have actually 2 more going this year, and they our guys got the highest score in the class out of all the national people that were there. They got, I think, 98 and 97, I think, % on there. And I actually have a picture of where they stick out a circle out in the field, and they have to go from 300 feet away. They have to hit as close as they can to that center. And it's not something like a straight path, it's actually curved. And they actually have to hit that thing center on, and I have a picture, they hit it just dead center. And some of our guys that are currently staffed, I mean, we've had it where they're 300 feet away and only missed the mark by half an inch. So it's pretty good.
Oh, whoa. We'll have to get him something out of Mr. Hemfield's budget.
Yeah.
That's really neat. That's great that they did that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ready? Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Back in April, the police department was awarded a grant funding to purchase and install Flock automated license plate reader systems. With that, we started to get those installed throughout the city. Council has asked that we bring back a Flock policy, which the clerk driver has sent out to all the council members. I'm going to go ahead and read the 2 most important things in this policy are going to be the purpose and then the actual policy itself. There's a lot of other sections for definitions. It defines what an automated license plate reader system is. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidelines for the use of the automated license plate reader system by the Safford Police Department. This policy ensures the use of the ALPR system is in compliance with applicable laws, protects the constitutional rights of the public, and provides procedures for data collection, use, and retention. It is the policy of the Safford Police Department to utilize the ALPR system as an official law enforcement tool. And I think that's probably the biggest key word in that. It's a law enforcement tool. As we grow and continue to grow, law enforcement, we have to keep up with the newest trends, and figure out new ways to stay ahead. This is one of the tools that helps us do that. It enhances public safety throughout not only our city, but our neighboring communities as well. The ALPR system is used to capture and store digital license plate data and images. Information may be used for official law enforcement purposes, including locating stolen vehicles, wanted persons, and persons of interest. This entire policy was vetted by our in-house attorney, Edwards and Amado. They've used this policy throughout the state for their clients as well. So with that, with the policy, if you have questions, we can dive into that, and I will turn the floor over to you.
Questions?
People are always skeptic that it's used against them. That's the main reason I was looking for a policy on it, and it's nationwide what sometimes humans do when they have a hold of these things. And there's still room for error in here without your monitoring of a lot of this. And I don't know how it bleeds over with the other entities around here. Can they just randomly look into our stuff too?
Yeah, so the systems that are in place, it's called Flock. They have what they call sharing. So if we grant permission to, say, Thatcher to look at our cameras, they will have that. To kind of address your other point, police departments throughout the nation and throughout the world have access to greater systems that have more information than a flock program ever will. So I guess, you know, I'm not going to say that it never happens, but I guess the intention of it being used for ill will or anything like that is those are very low incident type of events. With this policy, there's also um, guidelines for the use again and misuse as well. So again, we've been using systems that have access to, say, your personal data for decades. You know, and I can say for us as a police department, even as here in the valley, and probably throughout the state, very, very, very few incidents of misuse.
Yeah, because but you're only humans, and
Mhm.
so that's the thing. It says the Safford Police Department will conduct periodic audits. That means you can do it at will. So are you going to have a schedule to see how it's going?
So the audits will be for basically the use of the system. You can see in the guidelines that basically if you're going to use a system, if you're going to put in what they refer to as a hit or a hot vehicle, there are guidelines. You have to take a class, things like that. So we have to audit that, make sure that the guidelines are being adhered to.
So there's routine audits because it just said periodic.
Correct. Yeah, and then as far as the retention and those kind of as far as retention policies, they're governed. So unless it's being used for a law enforcement purpose, say an investigation or something like that, after a year, all the data is redacted.
And your notification that comes to you when you capture stuff, you can have it delivered to you different ways, and it goes to you individually
To the
or
officers.
through the officers.
To the
right?
officers, yes.
And then you remove it every so often and go from there. I just would be interested in the reports on how it's going, how it's working for you. Um, you know, something, not just forget about it now because we got this policy in place.
Yeah, and and like I said, again, we're barely getting the systems up and running right now, so we'd have to give it probably, honestly, at least a year. We're also, one of the questions that they had was, okay, future funding. We just applied for more grant funding to sustain this for the next 5 years, so.
Yeah, I had questions about future funding
Mhm.
on it too.
Yeah, we put in
'Cause
for that grant.
we never got any more reports on how body cams were doing
What,
over the years, you know, how,
what kind of report would you be referring to?
like how they're working for you. Are they working, you know, when you go through the academy, it's amazing what you see on the difference of that. But you have a policy for that too. Can you turn it off whenever you want to?
You can, yes.
And is that the policy
It's part of the policy, yes.
to turn it off?
Yes, it is. Yeah, and that's a standardized policy throughout the nation. Again, there's certain situations, and I can't get into every situation of why an officer would turn a body camera off, but there are times that, yeah, it is warranted, or even not turning it on. So again, a policy is not going to cover every situation. Obviously, we know that, but we have policies that govern the general day-to-day
So
use.
that's a judgment call, whether you turn it
No,
off.
no. It's not a judgment call. The officers make every effort to turn the camera on, but if you're jumping out of a car dealing with the situation, your first priority is not a body camera.
No, but
So,
okay, I just wondered about it because we never heard any more about how they were doing, what was going on, or anything.
as a matter of fact, I don't know, can we go into this a little bit on the body cameras, or is that not part of this?
I would say no, Chief Bobby Lux is not on the agenda.
Okay, and if you want to come in, I actually had a training today, and I can give you some updated information. It's actually really good information, so come in and talk to me, and I'll give you that. It'll probably be eye-opening, quite honestly.
And I probably should have asked this when Raymond was up here. When we get stuff that's not on the agenda, are we violating anything?
No, since this item's operational, there's no action to be taken on it, Vice Mayor. We're not violating open meeting law, and then I turn around and submit it with the minutes as well.
So we don't have to let the public know that we're going to be talking about this.
We did. It's on the agenda. It's number 13.2, the flock policy discussion.
But not what they gave us.
Not the item, no, it's not on there, but I will attach it to our minutes.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, the clerk, when you started to ask about body cameras, she pointed out correctly, that's not on the agenda. So she's helping you.
Thank you.
Bill, could you also clarify that because Chief Avila's attachment of the actual flock policy that was sent through email to the council doesn't have to be in the agenda packet?
No, but I think you should have it in case the public asks about it. I
Correct.
mean, yes, well, you've not given it to the public in advance, so it's too late now. But I think you should put it in the packet, so if someone asks, you have access that way. Or if
Correct,
they
in the
wish to
minutes.
access. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, just wondering if we were covered.
Just to let everybody know, Flock has been in the valley for about a year now. And so Safford's is just the last one to get it. So it's nothing new. We've been using it and utilizing it, and we've been helping Safford out with stolen vehicles here in town. Someone reported a stolen vehicle one morning, and the officer asked me to help. I put in the license plate, saw that it went on the highway. So I mean, it's very beneficial to us. Yeah, everything there's going to be, you can look into everything as there's a bad apple, but it's a very beneficial program that helps law enforcement and protects the Gila Valley from bad people being here. So I'm glad you guys are finally getting it. So
Yeah, correct. And again, we've had several success stories with it, so it's been a beneficial tool for us.
And the reservation's part of it.
I
don't know what
I
they
know they
have.
have some or have plans to have some. I'm not really
Yeah.
up to date.
You did mention them on one of your paragraphs, so I wondered, well, I don't know if the res is on there or not, but
Yeah, they're working on it as well.
I just wondered procedural wise, it says to refrain from using the word flock over the radio and then don't put where it's at. I mean, they're kind of you can tell where they're at, but is there a specific reason why you don't say flock over the radio and don't put it in your report?
We do. It's mainly for security purposes. Obviously, criminals don't like flock. There's been an increase in where people will go out and actually damage these units, and they're not cheap. So
Okay.
that's one of the reasons they don't want to post where these sites are at or use of them. So
So saying over the radio that you can't say the word flock. How are you communicating that they've been?
you can use the word flock. It's not. It's
Oh,
not
it just says on
It says
there.
they want you to refrain from using it. It doesn't mean you can't.
And then my last question is I just saw that Flock stopped providing any information to federal. They pulled that out because they found out that they were allowing ICE to access the systems. Is that something where we plan to still work with the federal government, or is that something you decide or Flock as a company decides?
That would be something I couldn't speak to, Flock. We don't have to. We choose to share who we want.
Okay.
I've never seen a federal agency request as far as we are concerned. So as far as ICE and things like that, that's something I can't speak to.
But you would work with them if they requested.
If it's a federal partner, we will work with our federal partners. Yes.
Thank you.
I just was curious if, how deep does this get? I mean, do you have to ask it if it's seen this license plate, or does it automatically tell you, hey, this guy just went by 8th and 8th with an expired plate and he's headed this direction?
So things
Or-
like expired plates are not going to come back as flock hits. These are used for investigative type law enforcement tools or uses. So if you're looking for a certain vehicle, Councilman McGoy, say you robbed the Circle K and we think you drove down Main Street. If we had a camera there, we'd put your license plate in as what they call a hit. If you drove by one of the flock cameras, it would send out an alert. Councilman McGoy, Circle K robber headed this way. I mean, it may not get into that detail. It would just tell you the vehicle, license plate, and direction.
But you don't have to think I'm on Main Street. It would catch me anywhere.
Correct. And again, it would also tie into other flock systems throughout the state or country.
But it's not a misdemeanor, little stuff. It
No,
doesn't
we're-
just catch its own stuff and create work for you guys? And to get locked into misdemeanor felony, so we could be looking for missing persons, which do not fall into either category. So again, I don't want to get locked into, oh, we can't use it for non-criminal. If we have a missing person, say, we now have silver alert, turquoise alert, amber alerts. So those will get put into flock because obviously those are people that we need to find for whatever reason. So to get it locked into a misdemeanor or felony, we can't really do that.
I was just gonna mention something to Councilman Bradner, the locations of them. I saw one in Bylis where I went to Phoenix and the camera was there. And on the way back after the weekend, the camera, you can see the wires like someone had damaged it. So the camera's now gone. So
I was referring to, we just don't want to, I mean, you can tell where they're at, but we try not to publicize that, honestly.
I did see pictures where when it's taking a picture, because I looked into this because we're getting it. So it took pictures and you can see the driver and the passenger. Is that something where you guys will be using, those photographs? Because it's taking license plate, but there was pictures showing driver and passenger.
It just depends. I mean, on the picture, the location, the angle, weather, time of day, things like that. They don't always come up like that. What we're doing with flock a lot of times, we're doing, say, in the case that you may be speaking, a known vehicle associated with this person. So not specifically who's in the vehicle, but a vehicle associated with, again, Councilman McGoy, the bank robber or whatever it was.
Just wondering on that for privacy issues.
Well, and we get into the privacy issue aspect of it. Tell me a place you can walk into that doesn't have a camera. If you're, you walk into Walmart, you have every angle of yourself, your family, everybody. So, we're not getting into that argument of privacy. We're in the world of camera, video. So, if you want that much privacy, quite honestly, you're going to have to stay in your own home because everywhere you go, there's a camera. That's just the world we live in.
It's a public thoroughfare.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And again, for the laws for that, I mean, we see people out filming, think of the First Amendment auditors, how they do it. As long as they're in public, they're allowed to do that. So. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you, Chief.
We'll move on to item number 14, announcement of current events. Anybody?
Mayor, Council, I just wanted to give you an update for the next few meetings before the October 13th public hearing on the rate study. We wanted to give you updates on what we're hearing. Solar is still dominating the conversation. We are getting calls. People are coming down and visiting us. We sit down with them. We go through their account. Some people are happy. Some people are unhappy. There's certain people that generate a lot of credits that this new policy is not going to affect. There are people that generate just barely enough credits to cover their account, and this would result in an increase for them. And we do point that out. We do point out the need for the increases. We're trying to get the focus back on looking at those balance sheet items that are in this presentation that was given to you on June 23rd. There's a balance sheet for every fund that we talk about in here. There are increasing costs. Landfill hasn't seen a price increase since 2009, and it's actually seeing a decrease for the city of Safford. It's going to be half the cost, and you still have all of your benefits, your free dump. As far as the other rates, 2018 was the last time there was a rate increase, and that was 7 years ago. And our costs are going up. We have capital projects that need to get to in the next 5 years. So the rate increase, we tried to figure out fair, what was equitable. We tried to look at different ways with our contractor to figure that out. So we try to focus the conversation back on that. I haven't heard a well-placed argument on we shouldn't spend the money. Our infrastructure, some of it goes back to the 1930s in the water, and some of it goes back even further than that in wastewater. So we have an aging infrastructure that needs to get out of the ground so that we can put it in with more modern stuff that meets regulations, that doesn't leak into the ground. So we have a system that is in need, and that is the rate increase. As you can see, we keep pointing people back to this. A lot of people get up and talk about how we're hurting the elderly, but as you look at this slide, if you are a modest user, not even the elderly, we're just talking about a modest user, for the first year, you're going to see a $6.73 decrease. So the rate increase, I'm not saying in year 4 or 5 or 2, 3, 4, 5 that it's not going to be higher, but you will see a decrease if you have all the utilities in the city of Safford. So we're just trying to give you guys talking points. I don't know what you've heard out there, what you're hearing. Feel free to call my office. Feel free to talk to the city manager. Well, we try to meet with everybody. There's some people that are respectful. Some people get a little belligerent. We try to work with them all, try to show them facts, but I don't know any system out there that can continue to not live with any sort of rate increases more than 7 years. I mean, we've done a miracle here. I mean, we've done the best with what we have, but we do have needs in the horizon that need to be addressed, and we continue to focus on that. But overall, this is a rate decrease. If we approve this plan, it'll decrease for most people. The big users, it will not be a decrease. There is some equitable and fairness issues that we're trying to correct in this rate study. Multifamily housing is one of those things in water that we're talking about, and that's going to be a different rate for those prospective accounts. So we have 8,000 accounts out there, so I can't sit down with everybody, but we try to sit down with whoever. So if you're getting constituents reaching out to you, just have them reach out to us. We're more than happy to sit down. I like to communicate through email so that we're clear and concise on what we're saying to one another. I feel like a lot of people are trying to get me in a legal trap sometimes when they talk to me, and I'm very aware of the ploy. So we try to be very clear and concise with our constituents. So with that in mind, we have put it in the utility bills, so you're going to start hearing. And we've posted a sign at the landfill. We've done everything to get the word out. So you are going to start hearing for the next 30 to 45 days about this. So feel free, have them come down to City Hall. We'll talk with them, have them email. I think my name's on that rate increase that's in your utility bill. So feel free to email me. Thank you.
So I just want to extend something. Number one, we're going to try to roll out 2 presentations between now and the 13th. Well, one on the 13th and one on the next meeting. What you're going to hear is a lot of anecdotal information from people who have individual issues with individual rates. And what I want council to remember is that what we are doing is saying in a particular enterprise fund, you have costs. Those costs are there. They're not going away. The exercise that we went through was to say, what is the best equitable distribution of how we generate the revenue to cover that cost, which means different participants in the use of that enterprise fund will realize different costs. One of the focus areas that we had, as per council direction, was to try to minimize the impact on those least able to pay, which is those on the bottom rung. So the hypothetical, little old lady that lives down the street, uses a walker, we were very cognizant of trying to keep those rates low. So when people come to you and say, oh, we're raising rates, well, not all rates are being raised, number one. Number two, as you go from one year to the next, you may not raise the rate in the second year if, as a result of the rate increases in the first year, where they do occur, and they won't be in all funds, that the fund balance is still healthy enough that another change in rates is not necessary. So you will get all kinds of anecdotal information. I've heard there's things being distributed in my neighborhood. Oh, the rates are doubling and all. It's not accurate information. We were very careful. We were very precise. We have to pay for utilities. Tell me what costs in 2025 when it cost in 2009. I challenge any private sector company to tell me they're charging the same price in 2025 they charged in 2009. Same thing in 2018. You have costs, you have large systems, they have to be maintained. The cost of maintaining those systems rises like anything else. And again, we were very, very careful to make sure that those least able to pay were least impacted. So again, everybody will come to you with a different story, their unique story. Our job was to create rates that handled the needs of our enterprise funds across the ratepayers within that particular fund.
Any questions, concerns?
Then we'll move on to number 15, request for future agenda items. Anybody?
You guys talked about there's a monthly report, so I pulled up our website so I could look at it to see what I was missing. The last time we had a report was December of 2023. So, and that's for all departments combined. I looked at all the individual ones and it's 2022. So is that something we need on an agenda to get
No,
those
we can
updated?
have it updated.
Because I don't know where to pull those reports if they're from 2023.
We can provide those reports.
Okay, because that's why I asked. I didn't know if we were supposed to be getting them and they said they're online. So I looked online.
You are supposed to be getting them.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not on the website either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. The next item, we need a motion.
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? We're adjourned.
I knew